side neighbors. We'll just go straight to questions. Questions for Coach?
Lindsay Schnell, USA Today.
Nice to see you.
Mike, do you think that this LSU team is better than last year LSU team?
They could be. They could be. They're harder to defend. They're better defensively. I think they're now that doesn't mean that they'll get the draw and all the stuff that you need to do to make a deep run. But as far as if you asked me to line up the two teams independently of each other, I'd probably be on the argument side of yeah. And I don't think they've played to their potential yet. I think they are so well coached. They do not. You can't speed them up. You can't take them out of what they're trying to do. You can yell all you want about trying to keep Michaela Williams to get to her spot. I dare any of y'all to step out there and try to guard her. Can't do it. She gets to her spots as good as any kid since Maya Moore, in my opinion. Heard that. That's what I'm telling you, though. She gets to her spots. Reese, I think, has kind of let this team develop. She's kind of doing her thing, and she's kind of let everybody fill in their roles. And this is just the outsider looking in. I'm not trying to coach Kim Mulkey's team. I can't. It's hard enough to coach in our own, but you asked the question, so hopefully I answered it.
You got down 18 in a hurry, but you got it back.
Yeah.
And then you had to feel just a little bit of hope going into the second quarter.
Yeah, and we have had a notoriously slow starting team. I've had to call timeouts quite a bit. I think Lindsay was at shoot around. I said if we could make it to the first media without having to call a timeout, it would be a great thing. We didn't make it very far. This crowd is amazing. They're on you. It's worth a few points right when you step in every game. And I don't care, again, how much we prepare for it, how much we can pipe in all the sounds you want. It's not the same. But the start, I am proud of our kids the way they do it. We get that timeout, and we're like, big, deep breath. We've been here before. Then they came out and they really, I thought, were competitive. Not good enough to beat them. We made too many mistakes. But you look at this, and we only had 7 turnovers. Okay, we only had 7 turnovers. And the way that we play fast, so we're going to shoot teams into 99 points. We're not going to slow down. We didn't slow down. I didn't take the air out of the ball. That's not who we are because we got to keep getting better too. I don't look at the final score. I'll look at it possession by possession. But, yes, I was proud of the way we come back and the way we finished too. I thought we fought in the second half. Not at full strength either. Saylor hasn't practiced. It's hard going in with the leading rebounder in the country on defensive rebounding, and she's not 100%. She didn't practice at all this week. She gave it her best go, but obviously she didn't have what she normally does. And against this team, if you don't rebound, you've got zero chance.
Yeah, Coach, I know you kind of touched on the crowd just a little bit there. How overwhelming was that from the start of the game, just trying to get into a rhythm and not being able to?
It's worth 8 to 10 points. We had a hard time communicating what we were trying to do. We didn't communicate our defensive schemes. They got literally every shot they wanted to start, and we traditionally are a team that really does a good job of executing scouting report defense. And that's got to be credited partly to them. I tell you this, if Miriam Dowda's first 3 had gone down to start the game, I think it would have been a different start because we got the shot we wanted. We thought we would get it. She ended up making, 4 or so. I think that first shot goes, maybe we don't, obviously it would have been 18-0 because we'd have made a shot, but maybe it doesn't go 18-3 either. Maybe it's 9-3 at the media. So I think you got to attribute 8 to 10 points to them. They're on you. They're active. They arrive early. The dance squad killed Smooth Criminal. I watched it. I clapped. It was amazing. And if they didn't win it, we should have a recount because if somebody beat that, I'd like to see it. I think, I think this school is really committed to women's basketball, and it's great to see. They made the commitment. I know Scott Woodward personally. Y'all can do the research and find out how far back he and I go. I'll save you the research. He hired me at Washington. So I know how important he takes women's basketball, and we're thankful for ADs like him and Hunter at Arkansas that do take women's basketball serious. This crowd has come back out, and it is a place that when you get that schedule, you look at it and you're just hoping you're not at LSU. But we are this year.
Coach, in the middle, how did LSU guard you on the 3-point line?
Well, they ran at us. They did a really good job of when we would make the extra pass, there was somebody coming and getting in our face. Whether it was Flaugier reading the next pass or whether it was Michaela reading it or Haley, juking and jiving and keeping you from making the pass. They got our hands on a bunch of balls early. Like, we were open and we were trying to make the right pass, but, man, they were disruptive. And that's a Bob Starkey coach defense. I've coached against Bob at a lot of different places, and the one thing you can count on is he's going to take away your A and B. And if you can beat him with C, good luck. But I thought they did a good job of executing, and they tipped a lot of balls when we were trying to make the right pass, and we were open, but you just couldn't. And then it floated. But to me, that goes towards talking about how this team is so sound offensively and defensively. It's both sides of the ball. There's not a one side you can focus on with them.
Hey, Coach, while we have you here as a coach in this league, I was curious to get your thoughts on LSU South Carolina this Thursday and how that game could go.
We were hoping for one of those trap games and get them looking forward to it and all that. And then it was pretty clear after that start they were not falling for that. But that staff over there has been in too many Final Fours to allow that to happen. I think it's good for the game. The two top teams in our league and two of the top in the country. It'll be fun. Did I see game day or what our equivalent of game day will be here? The number of eyes that are on women's basketball right now. Going from the Final Four that LSU won, it was the most watched women's sporting events, period, not just basketball. So I think continuing to get eyes on our game, getting them a chance to see kids like LSU has and some young kids that we have too. We got a lot of sophomores and freshmen. They're going to be around for a long time. So the more eyes we can get on it, I don't know what time is the game. I haven't looked that far ahead. I think we have a game that night at 7, so I won't get a chance to see it. But it's good for our game. These marquee matchups in league are happening, more and more and more. And I'm just thankful that a lot of people go out and support it.
Coach, you mentioned Michaela Williams. How good might she be in a year or two? What do you see her potential being?
I'm hoping the WNBA opens up for freshmen to be able to leave immediately if we could and jack the pay up. So it'd be we've been watching Michaela since she was in 8th grade, and she just has continued to get better and better and better. I came out to watch her warm up, and it was very methodical. It was very businesslike, and then she carried it right over the game. I think the sky's the limit for her. How hard she'll work at it, and knowing what I know, that's going to be really hard. So I think this is a kid that I've had a lot of great players here. There's a lot of big names hanging up in that rafter, but if the 4 years thing stays mandatory, there'll be a watch party anyway to see how she continues. But I think through her freshman year, you got to get her in that conversation.
Because you coach in the Pac-12, Mike, I have to ask you, Tara VanDerveer just became the all-time wins leader.
Oh, was that today?
Yes, they beat Oregon State by 9. She passed Coach K, so she has 1,203 wins.
Wow.
Why has she been so successful? Can you imagine winning that many games?
No.
And is she ever going to retire?
I don't know. As long as she wants to coach, let her coach. She's so awesome for our game. I lost count how many of those wins are against our teams. I did get her in ping pong, though, one time at the Pac-12 meeting, so I'd like to make sure that's noted someplace. I'm 1-0 ping pong was. I think because she's been so steady, she's been such a person that just was good for the game. She was always out for the good of the game, not always the good for her team or her current situation. She was constantly pushing for change and things that we needed to keep growing the game. And I think that's why her success is what it is. And it's, over various places, over lots of changes to our game. She's adapted. She's when you would, as an outsider, there's this change coming. Maybe she won't adjust. They've adjusted, and I think she's. I hate that we compare her to Coach K. I know it's natural, but the most wins period. But just for our sport. The fact that somebody has got more wins in our sport, that's kind of cool.
Thanks, everyone.
Yep. Can I take this?